We met Mitchell in Nassau. We went from Miami to Nassau and had to go from Nassau across Cubana Airlines to Havana. And we had been across from the Dominican Republic before, but we started going through Nassau. And so we got into Havana. We met Mitchell and had a rendezvous in Bahamas and spent the night, and the next day we flew to Havana. And for some strange reason, my wife was drinking all these Cubana colas on the trip over there, which she didn't usually do. So we got into Havana, and we got through customs okay. And asked Mitchell, I said, well, where's the pastor? And he said, well, he's not coming. We're going to catch a government cab. And so I said, okay. So we got a government cab, and we was riding, and we had left the airport, and my wife said, I need to go to the bathroom. And down there, it's, I guess the description at that time my wife had was about the, excuse me, best I know is like a ghost town with the people still there. So she said, I need to go to the bathroom. Well, there's no service stations to stop at, no stores. And I said, well, you know, I told the driver, and he ignored it. And so we're driving on about 45 minutes to this town. And the roads are bumpy, they're not that good. And about 10 minutes later, she tells me again, I need to go to the bathroom. And so I tell Mitchell again, he tells the driver again in Spanish. And we keep going, he ignores it. And this went about 4 or 5 times. And when we finally got into the town where we were going, I asked Mitchell, I said, do you have the phone number of the pastor? No. Don't have the phone number of his neighbor. Do you know where he lives? This is a city of 100,000 people. Do you know where he lives? Well, I knew where he lived and knew where his house was, but I didn't know how to get there. A city of 100,000 people. And neither did anybody else. And so we said, well, how are we going to find the pastor? You don't pick up the yellow pages and look in the book, and they got churches advertised there. This is a communist country, and it's a country of oppression, and it's a country of house churches, and so we didn't know how we was going to get in touch with this guy. But anyway, we get into the city where we're going, and we stop at a stop sign, and I scream. I thought I was in the flesh. I said, Mitchell, you tell this guy he either stops his vehicle now, or I'm gonna stop it. I'll drag him out of here. I don't know what all I said. I thought I was angry. I didn't act like a Christian. Because my wife had to go to the bathroom, they were ignoring me, and I finally just said, pull over here. I screamed, pull over here. So he pulled over, and there was a 2-story house there, and I asked Mitchell, would he get out? He always helps us so much. I don't know what we'd do without him. And he's such an anointed man of God, missionary to the Dominican Republic. And he knocks, this lady's there and on the street, and she said, he said, can this lady use the restroom? She said, well, my husband's in the shower upstairs. If you can wait about 10 minutes, I'll call him and I'll ask him, you know, let her in. And so they went next door because my wife had to go to the bathroom real bad. Too many Cuban colas. So they went next door and they knocked on the door. And this gentleman said, oh, come on in. The pastor's been looking for you. Well, it's one of the pastor's elders' house that we knocked on the door. Now, an angel guided us there. You know, even when we don't know we need faith for something, God is always faithful. He watches out after us. I mean, he had an angel directing us and guiding us, because I thought I was in the flesh at that stop sign. And I screamed, stop here, you know, yak, 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 and run in my mouth. And it was God that pulled us over there, because here was an elder in the pastor's church who we knew. He had been over to the pastor's house that day working on the pastor's doors and getting ready for us to come. And here we are, we have someone that can guide us to the pastor's house in a city of 100,000 people. You tell me that's not a miracle? Oh my goodness, it really is a miracle. We really get so distracted by the natural that we forget the supernatural is there. And if we can believe the Word of God, and we can stand on it, and work on our faith, You do mechanic work on a car, on an airplane, on anything that's mechanical. Why can't you do some kind of spiritual work on your life, where that you're continually maintaining the level of spirituality that we need to have the kind of faith that we need? Because it's a fight of faith on this earth. There's times that we have to get out of the boat and walk on water when nobody else gets out of the boat. Nobody else is even interested in getting out of the boat. Matter of fact, some people are ready to accept that they sink. But we fight the good fight of faith. You read in Hebrews 11, now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The world was made by things not seen. So we have Jesus, he makes a statement when he comes to the earth, will I find faith there? I mean, I've seen all these things, and it's amazing to me. It's amazing even when I look back at these things that God has done. Like, I was talking about a while ago, and I'm just giving you some experiences that I've seen. I couldn't tell you all of them to save my life because there's so many, but just some I'm thinking of today. I've seen times where God just helped me out in natural things that I needed some assistance, I needed some help. And some of the funniest things will happen. My wife and I, when we were building this house here in 1989, I guess it was, my father had passed away, and I moved back to where I was raised next to my mother, and so we built a house in the middle of a pasture, and my cousin had all these cows in the pasture, and my aunt and uncle lived next door to me where my grandfather and grandmother was at one time, and they were there, and another uncle. And we were here building a house and getting ready to build a house. We were preparing the land, and so we had some big trees that had been piled up with a bulldozer, and we were going to try to cut them up and burn them and get rid of them. And so we had a chainsaw, and I was trying to saw some limbs, and we're in this pasture, and we got these bunch of cows. They're unusual cows. They're friendly cows. They cows that just want you to pet them, and I haven't seen many cows like that, but every one of them was like this. They'd stick their nose down at your hand and want you to pat them on the head, and just all kind of involved in what you're doing, like somebody looking over your shoulder, only they was a little worse than that. And so I'm sawing trees, and I tell Jeanette, I said, Jeanette, we can't get anything done because of these cows. I'm going to hit one of them in the nose with this chainsaw. Not trying to, but, they just, we'll have to do something about these cows. And Jeanette said, well, why don't we just bind them? And you know how it is, I guess, when you with somebody that's really being spiritual, and at that moment you're not real spiritual, and you can't say, well, let's don't do that. You say, well, yeah, let's do that. I'll agree with you, and so I did, but not with great faith. But she had great faith. She really meant it, and she said, she's buying these cows, and something like the Lord sent them away, and these were my cousin cows that was in our pasture, and so we kept on working, and all of a sudden the cows began to bellow, and they threw their rear legs up in the air, and their tail went wild, and they just looked like they saw a ghost or something, and they acted real crazy, and they took off down towards the river, and we got a river runs through the back of our property, and I told Jeanette, I said, I wonder what happened to those cows. And it really didn't register with either one of us, but God took it serious, and when we did that, the angels took it serious because it was the word of God. Whatsoever you bind on earth should be bound in heaven. I never thought about binding cows, but Jeanette did. Evidently the Lord was interested in it because it was something that involved our normal, everyday, necessary life. We needed to get this done.